Good day to all the viewers at home. Welcome to AGC in HD with Lerato Moji. Today we're having an interview with Ms Portia. We'll be talking depression as requested by you guys. Before you do anything, please subscribe and please like all our pages on Facebook and YouTube. Welcome, Ms Portia. How are you?
Thank you, Mr. Moji, and thank you for having me. I'm fine, thanks. And how are you?
No, I'm good, thank you. Ms Portia, before we go into this depression topic today, can you please introduce yourself to all our viewers at home?
Okay. So the name is Portia and the surname is Klaas. Briefly, I was born in Cape Town in a place called Hout Bay. Then I moved to the Eastern Cape. So I came back in the 90s to continue with my studies. So I grew up in a Christian home. We were members of AFM. Actually, they still are. But I personally chose to be with AGC. I am a mother of 3 and was married, then divorced a few years back. So I'm a social worker. I'm a born-again social worker. And yeah, I think I will be able to share more as we deep in with our discussion.
Okay, yes. So now we're talking about depression. Can you maybe tell us a bit, when did you start maybe dealing with this topic or focusing more on this topic of depression? As you say, you are a social worker. When did you start focusing more into depression?
Okay. First of all, I would like to mention that I studied social worker when I already had my children. I was in a different position or profession. Then due to some reasons, I ended up being in social work. I would say one of the reasons that drew me to social work was the issue of divorce. Because during my divorce, I had to deal with more social workers, and I wasn't sure what social work was all about. So having an experience with most of these people, I had to meet with social workers. So I got an interest and decided to resign from my work then. So I pursued my studies in social work. That is where I met with the topic depression. It was not easy. It was not easy at all to deal with the word depression, because I knew I was going through depression, as I was already told. So from my first year to the last year, I've been involved with the topic depression, because social workers are more involved with people's social being, which includes sometimes depression. So I happened to have a second major as a psychology from the first to the third year. So I dipped more into the topic of depression, and I was so interested in knowing more about it because I was depressed myself. So it was more like a therapeutic intervention for me. It was very therapeutic.
Okay.
So
Yes. Now let's dwell into depression, the topic of the day.
yes.
Can you please maybe just give us a brief meaning of what actually is depression, so we can understand it a bit more before we delve deeper into it?
Okay. Depression is known to be a common but serious medical illness that negatively affects how you feel, the way you think, and how you do things. And depression may cause feelings of sadness, loss of interest in activities that you once enjoyed, and it can also be treated. So depression is a variety of many things that happen within one's body, although sometimes it cannot be easily identified. It's more psychological.
Okay. All right. Then maybe as you carry on, what are the signs of depression? When we say a person is depressed or we are looking into a person, what are the signs that we are looking for to actually diagnose this person as a depressed person or a person that's going through depression?
Okay. Some of the signs of depression are the feelings of anxiety, sadness, less energy, insomnia, irritability, frustration, anger. Those are one of the signs or symptoms, signs and symptoms. Lack of control, of concentration, physical and emotional problems, and inability to function at work and at home. So you might see someone being unable to perform certain duties that they were usually easily perform, even lack of appetite. With others, more in eating. So those are some of the signs, but not everything.
Okay. So I hear this. Someone will ask a question, I hear all of these things. I mean, I get them. I don't sleep sometimes. Sometimes I sleep. Um, what are the effects of depression on a person? What is the impact of depression on a person, and why is it needed? Why do we need to address it? For example, people just say, go pray, man. Hey, we are living, or go pray, you're going through everything. How fast? You don't fast too much, especially Tina Abasinsiwe. Go fast, go deeper in prayer, seek God more. And we don't understand this depression thing. So why does it need to be addressed when we find people going, man, we've lived all our lives without this, without being diagnosed, we just pray and things ziyalunga. So why do we need to address depression?
Yeah, that's a very good question because first of all, let me go back to the signs that I've shared. Not everyone that have those signs have depression. So we are human beings. Sometimes we do feel sad. Sometimes we feel emptiness. Sometimes we're unable to do things. However, if it continues for longer, then you will need to seek some advice, medical advice, to know that you definitely depressed. So not everyone experiences those can be said to be depressed. So coming back to your question, it is so sad that most communities do not understand the issue of depression. They, including church, people who are going through depression at times are forced to act as if everything is normal. Because umzalwane will tell you, hamba mbothandaza. Ifamily might tell you that, no, man, when we are dlala, you need to man up, particularly with males. If you are a female, come on, get yourself together. They take it not very serious. So it is important to make sure that people educate themselves to understand depression, because it can lead to death. When I say death, people might be hopeless to the point of taking their own life, committing suicide. It might take others to be in a position to rather go for substance abuse, things like alcohol or drugs, or any kind of a way of minimizing the pain. So it's very important to educate ourselves about depression so that we don't minimize the existence of depression in people that are going through depression.
Okay. Oh, were you carrying on?
No, I wanted to ask if I've answered your question or...
Yes, no, you have answered my question.
Okay.
Then, as we go on depression, we find that we find a lot of people maybe that have the symptoms are very, what's this right word? Abafuni, or they're very hesitant to go seek help. Why is it that people that have the symptoms or that think they are depressed are so hesitant to go get help from professionals?
Okay. One of the reasons that has been proven by studies is that depression, as it is part of mental health issue, is very much stigmatized within our societies. People who has never experienced depression will make instead judgments to those that have symptoms of depression, because they lack knowledge and understanding of how depression can be dangerous in one's health. So as a result, people, when something is stigmatized, people are less likely to seek help about it. So they don't want to be associated with mental health issues.
No, that makes sense. I hear that. Now, as we go on, how does one overcome depression? How does one get help, or how does one just stop being depressed, if we can use that word, or is there even such a word?
Okay. Depression have different, actually there are common types of depression. We get those that have major depression, such as bipolar disorder and the others. And you get the mild depression as well. So with mild depression, the interventions are very easy. Talking to someone that is less judgmental is more likely to help someone with minor depression. And also, it depends on the type or factors, the factors that were involved in you getting depression. Some depressions are biological, genetic, or situational. So mostly situational depression are more likely to be intervened at a lower level. However, people don't know at times that they are depressed, so they cannot seek help. So it is important for people to educate themselves in order to understand the signs and symptoms of depression and help those that have these signs to go and seek help.
Okay.
Yes.
All right. No, that's, I think that's very helpful. So tell me, let's say someone has had depression before, and they've gotten help, as we had someone like Babun Debele, as we had last week on the channel, had depression and he was helped to get over it. Is it possible for someone that has had depression to get it again? And how likely is it that someone that has had depression again will get it again?
To answer your question, I would answer by saying, again, it depends on different factors that have caused the depression. For instance, when I listened to Mr. Ndebele's interview last week, it was more like a situational depression. So when you are in a situational depression, you are more likely to overcome it. But studies also show that when you have been depressed, you are more likely to be depressed once again. It depends on individuals, because we are different human beings, because what depresses me might not depress the next person. Yeah, let's take, for instance, my case. I went through divorce as well. And this was through my divorce. I was depressed because of divorce. And due to depression that I had, I was unable to take some precautions in terms of running the business, which led to losing a lot of things. I lost a lot of things. I was even more depressed, and I was diagnosed with depression. I was given treatment. I went to the medical doctor, and I was given treatment that was antidepressants.
Okay.
So I had to, it helped me to manage life at that time. I was able to sleep at this time because, as I've mentioned earlier on, sometimes you experience insomnia when you are depressed. You are unable to sleep, yes. So I had some medication that would help me to sleep. But I've noticed something with the medication. I could feel that the medication had much drugs. I'm not saying that people should stop taking medication, but they are
Yes.
different. I also was a believer. I was a child of God when I got depressed. So it wasn't because I wasn't born again. No, I was born again, but I went through depression. I was in medication, but I took a decision, a very hard decision. People were totally against it. The doctor was totally against it. That no, I'm not continuing with medication because this medication makes me feel like a zombie. I'm just tired all the time. I just need to sleep all the time. So I decided to stop it. I stopped depression medication ever since. I haven't experienced it. However, the clinicians will totally disagree with me that it's impossible that you'll be in medication for depression and stop, but I have stopped. I am a witness to that, although I don't know how much percentage that of. So it's treatable. We need to get help that we can at time, because when you are depressed and born again at the same time, you are more likely to rely more to God, other than thinking that, no, I've done wrong with God. It depends on the level of understanding and your relationship with God as well.
True. No, that makes sense. So is it possible to even prevent depression? Is it possible for one to say, hey, I almost got depressed, I stopped this? Or, hey, I was on my way to depression, then I stopped this? Or I was getting depression symptoms and I stopped this? Is it even possible to do that, to stop yourself from getting depressed?
Sometimes, no, I don't think it is possible. Most of the times I would say, no, it's not possible. Because I've said there are different factors that are involved in getting depression. It's biological. It's genetic. When I say biological, I'm talking about some mental kind of issues that one has no power over it. And the research hasn't given us any likelihood of what is it all about. Same applies as genetic one. Because if one had a family member, a parent, or whoever is related to them, who had depression, they are more likely to experience depression. So situational, like Mr. Ndebele's case and my case, that was a situation that was something that was happening that one have no control over. And we can also make a current situation of COVID-19. I believe, or I presume, there will be more people that are depressed with what is currently happening. Financial situation, job losses, losing loved ones, just general struggles with life. So that is not preventable. So, however, also just to mention childhood trauma as well. Childhood trauma is situational. A child might grow up in a home that is not so much functional. As a result, a person might grow up with a lot of issues, social issues, because of the background, and end up having depression. So it's not necessary. I cannot proudly say it's preventable. I cannot proudly say it depends on where is it coming from. Instead of saying preventable, I can say maybe we can take precautions if we have any idea or a knowledge about it or manage it.
Okay. Before we end our interview, can I throw a curveball, and throw this one in? I know you're not prepared for it. Can I throw this one in? Are there situations as abazalwane, pastors, and people who serve in the body of Christ that can get us to a point of depression through things that happen in the church? Let's take a worshiper, an usher, a pastor. Are there things that can get us into depression as we are serving in the body of Christ?
Absolutely. Absolutely. And thank you for raising this question, because I believe in our churches, we run away from such topics. This is a very relevant topic that is supposed to be discussed in the church. For instance, abazalwane are human beings.
Yes.
We are human beings. We are experiencing depression within the church. So there's no way that we can say asikwazi thina uba singafikelela ekubeni sibe nayo depression. We are human beings, and we interact with abantu that are our loved ones, our family members, our community members that are not born again. So we are more likely to see depression. So unfortunately, abantu abaninzi ecaweni okanye ezicaweni are programmed to suppress their feelings. They are more programmed to suppress their feelings, in that at church we tend to present our life as if everything is normal, because we know that is what is expected of you. Otherwise, if ongenzi njalo, you are more likely to be seen as a sinner. So we tend to use the term or the defense mechanism, which is suppression. We suppress our feelings. We deny our feelings. As such, most people will go to church and they will handle everything as if it's like normal. So and I think that is very dangerous, because when you take depression and try and normalize it and not get to the bottom of it, then you are suppressing your feelings. One day they will come up and you will still have to deal with it.
I hear you. Like, we have this thing as Christians that when I go to the house of the Lord, this is where I'll get my healing. This is where I'll get my breakthrough and everything like that. But as much as the church plays a role, or being in the presence of abazalwane plays a role in helping you, we still need to go get help from a professional as abazalwane.
Absolutely. You know, if we look at things like singabazalwane, look at things and understand how the system works. Enkonzweni, I believe, singabazalwane, we need to be able to identify, for instance, a lawyer.
Yeah.
It's exactly the same. You cannot go and represent yourself a court that is required of a lawyer. We cannot heal depression only spiritually. Spirituality plays a huge role. However, at times we need to get real and get to the bottom of ingxaki that we're facing with. For instance, depression can be as a result of struggles, financial struggles, for instance, or unemployment. When you struggle financially, you don't necessarily need prayers, but you need someone that can give something. You need to be able to earn an income.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah, understand. So as much as we are spiritual, but we need to make sure ukuthi izinto sizenza ngendlela eyiyo. We need abantu that can diagnose and give us medication or counseling.
No, that makes a lot of sense. Thank you very much for your time, Ms Portia. We hope that we'll have you again. We're talking about depression and delving more into it and getting some questions from our viewers. But we thank you for your time and the information that you have given us today.
My pleasure. Thank you for having me.
No, it's our pleasure. To all the viewers at home, thank you for joining us. This is Lerato on AGC in HD. Please subscribe. Please like our videos. Share them with your friends. You don't know who might need it or who it might help. So share the video with your loved ones, and let's get help for everybody that needs it. Let's not stigmatize depression. Let us deal with it. Even if you're a Christian, even if you're not, let's deal with depression so that we can have a healthier society and a healthier future. Thank you, everybody. Signing out, Lerato Moji.